Hey guys, welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andrew Seegers, and we're again joined by Derek Binner to discuss the latest addition to the Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS roster, Diddy Kong. So let's get right into it. Alright Derek, so they just announced another returning character for Smash Bros. As, we and pretty much everyone else expected. Because it is, the day of Donkey Kong's launch in the US, and they just confirmed that Diddy Kong is in fact coming back. And as far as I can tell, he looks very similar to his appearance in Brawl, which it's basically a running theme with these returning characters. But yeah, what are your thoughts on having Diddy Kong back?
I mean, like you and everybody else, I figured he would be announced today as well, just because it's sort of been the pattern for all these these returning characters. They have a game coming out. They're probably going to be confirmed for Smash.
Right.
I didn't play Diddy Kong much in Brawl, just a little bit here and there. I know he's regarded as a pretty good character.
I really like using him,
yeah,
because he especially if you learn how to use his bananas, he could just be disastrous. Like, if you hated tripping, you would hate fighting against someone who knows how to use Diddy Kong, because he would just make you trip all the time by just throwing bananas at you.
Yeah, it seems like it. I've seen some pretty effective users, but he never really matched my playstyle, so I didn't really use him that much, and whenever I did, it was always in the most basic way, so I didn't really know how to take advantage of his tricks and whatnot.
Right, yeah. He was probably one of the more technical fighters, I would say. It just, it took more to get good with him than a lot of the others, I would say. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's cool to see him back. I liked Diddy originally. So yeah, that is a good thing. But again, like the others, it looks like they're not changing him much. Although in the very first screenshot, we do see one slight tweak, and it looks like he's using his side tilt here, which he had before. But now, this time, his arms appear to go much farther than before. It almost looks like he's like Lanky Kong from Donkey Kong 64 with his stretchy arms here.
Yeah, it's almost disturbing in a way, because you got Diddy back there, and all of a sudden his arms are stretching out. Yeah. He has very realistic hands and fingers.
Yeah.
They got the fingernails and all that. And the hands themselves are like huge to emphasize the punch. I mean, great for the character, and I probably won't notice quite as much in the gameplay itself, but for these pictures, oh my god, are they disturbing.
Yeah, again, this is probably like a single, this is obviously a single frame, and I'm guessing that only just flashes up for a few frames. So yeah, it definitely looks a little bit weird in motion. But like, if you go back and play like Mario 64, Mario has the same kind of thing where his fists get huge for like a couple frames. Mm-hmm. But they weren't as detailed as Diddy's are here, and it is a little bit creepy. And I think the scale is what's partially making it creepy. So yeah, this screenshot's a little bit weird. It does show that they are making some changes to these characters.
I mean, who knows? It seems like they're doing some minor changes with the returning characters. Nothing overtly different, but they are making slight tweaks here and there just to give them that more balanced feel.
There's something else to note about this picture is that it's taking place in the punch-out arena, or the boxing arena as we originally knew it. Now, the interesting thing is every screenshot shown off since Lil Mac was confirmed showed off that the arena changed. That they updated it to have punch-out logos and stuff. But if you look at this screenshot, we can see that it actually goes back to what they had before. It's saying Smash Brothers in the background on the on the marquee or on the LCD board, and then even the arena itself too has changed, which might mean that, kind of like the Spirit Tracks arena in the 3DS version, I wonder if this arena is going to change depending on if Lil Mac's in the fight or not. So if he's not there, maybe it reverts to a more generic arena, whereas if he is there, it uses a Punch-Out theme.
I mean, it's entirely possible that's true, but it seems like a strange type of change to implement. Like, why bother making it just a generic arena? We never took, like, if a character doesn't fight in one of the other arenas, it's not like Hyrule Castle becomes a generic castle. It's, to me, while it would be an interesting detail, ultimately it comes across as pointless, and I think this is just a screenshot from before, when they were still testing out the characters, but they didn't want to reveal Little Mac yet, so maybe they were like, okay, do we want to show off are we going to put Diddy Kong before or after Little Mac? And this is probably a before shot. That's my theory, but your theory is still viable, but it just seems sort of pointless to me, unlike the change up for the Spirits Tracks level.
It does seem pointless, but the fact that we see other pictures that have Lil Mac in it with the Punch-Out Arena, I mean, it makes it seem odd that they would choose one picture from a previous, build, and then, post it live. I mean, I don't know, it certainly is possible, and I do agree that change does seem pointless. But, so did the Spirit Tracks Arena, basically. I mean, granted, that one's a little bit cooler, because that detail actually is a neat one, whereas this one does seem like a really pointless. I mean, still kind of cool that they do it at all, but it does seem like a pretty unnecessary thing. But who knows? And I'm actually hoping that if this is the case, that it does change, that might hint at even more changes for other arenas depending on what characters you have in them. Now, I do like this next screenshot because it shows a detail on the characters. But it also just makes DK look like a freaking moron. Because DK really just looks like an idiot in all these games. Or in all these Smash Brothers games. I don't know why they can't, like, even since the original game, and that was partially due because they had such a low polygon count, but it seems like they just ran with this really dumb-looking Smash look, and I don't know why they can't get it right. Why can't they go back to, like, what they've done in Tropical Freeze or, Donkey Kong Country Returns and use that model? I don't know why they can't get him right. It's not a big deal. He just bugs me. Like, just the way he looks in all these games.
See, I find it kind of endearing. Just because he is so derpy and whatnot. It gives him a little bit of extra personality, and I don't know. It's just kind of funny to see him, like, just with this dumb smile.
Giant grin.
Yeah. It's worth noting, though, that I mean, these are two very different games in the way they're playing, the way their styles are, but the fur effects in Tropical Freeze are a lot more advanced than what we're seeing here with the two of them. And that's just probably because there's more characters, more things happening on screen, and you can keep a much more consistent character thing. But it is interesting to note that, to see such a difference on the same system.
Yeah, no, I did notice that right away, that, like, if you play Tropical Freeze, the fur effects are amazing in that game. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're probably some of the best I've seen, where, like, they even react to physics, basically. Like, when he stops, like, you can see the fur, like, it carries a momentum that slowly comes to a stop. Yeah, it definitely looks a lot more rudimentary here, like something you'd find, in the Wii game or something. Although I can't even remember they did any fur effects in the Wii one. It's not bad looking. I'm sure it'll look fine when it's not zoomed in like this, but it is a noticeable difference. But moving on to the next screenshot it confirms that, Diddy's recovery is, still the rocket barrel, which is fine. That was a, perfectly adequate recovery before. But what's cool is they are adding one small detail, as far as I can tell. When I checked it over in Brawl, it looked like they changed his facial expression. Because in Brawl, he looked a little bit more confident when using it. And here, it looks like he's kind of freaked out by what's happening. So I don't know if that's just because, like, it's a misfire or something, or or if it's, like, fully charged. And it was hard for me to. It's so hard to see in Brawl. So maybe it is there under certain circumstances, but it does seem like they might be, changing the facial expressions as we've seen with some of the other characters to give them even more personality this time.
It's entirely possible. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me at all to have that little extra detail, and just greater sense of fun, as we've said with all these facial expressions.
So yeah, his entire moveset really seems to be basically the same. But with that said, I am so happy to see that his banana move is back, as we can see in this last screenshot. And we can see, we see the banana peel and we see Fox slipping on it. Which is awesome, because that was what made that character so distinct. Or partially for me, that's what made him play so well.
Yeah, I mean, Diddy Kong was a fun character, and a lot of people got attracted to him, so it is good to see him back, and I really couldn't think of anything that you could do to update him or change him. I think the moveset worked very well for his character. So, I don't mind the fact that they didn't really do much to him. Yeah,
I had no problems. Yeah, I always liked Diddy, and, I wanted to see him in Brawl. Although I am a little bit disappointed. Like, I love that he's back, but I'm almost concerned that, well, I mean, I am concerned that means there won't be any more Donkey Kong characters. And in that sense, I'm just a little bit disappointed, but I would have liked to have seen, either Dixie, or even better would be King K Rool. I'm still holding out hope that maybe he'll appear here, but I very much doubt it. But he would be, I think he'd be an awesome, another big heavyweight villain. And I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him here. What do you think, though? Are there any other Donkey Kong characters you'd like to see either instead of or in addition to Diddy?
Well, the only other two Donkey Kong characters that really stand out to people is, of course, Cranky and Funky. And I'm not sure if either of them have the moveset yet to do anything major, like as far as being a fun playable character. And of course, they can event moves for them. But I think you're right with Dixie and King K. Rool being the only other two characters that could fill in for a new spot. K. Rool, they could really do a lot of interesting things with him, just because every incarnation of him has been completely different. He's been a pirate, he's been a mad scientist, he's been in a boxing arena.
Right, yeah, that's right. Although I would be okay if they just don't reference Donkey Kong 64 at all, or ever in anything. No, you're right. They do have a lot to choose from. They could easily come up with a moveset for that guy. Yeah, and I think that'll be awesome fan service. People want to see King K. Rool back. Whether you hear that all the time in the new Donkey Kong Country games. And I'm sure people would love to see him in Smash Brothers as well. And he did have a trophy either in Melee or Brawl. So it's not like they've completely forgotten about him, just mostly. So yeah, it'd be. I mean, I'm hoping for another DK character, but I'm not expecting it. So do you have any final thoughts at all on Diddy? Anything we didn't cover here at all, Derek?
Not really. I think he looks fun as always, and just great to see him back. I mean, I would have been a little disappointed if he hadn't shown up, because once again, he's a character that has a unique moveset, and it's a shame. It'd be a shame to lose characters who are unique.
Alright, I think that wraps it up for our Diddy Kong discussion. So thanks guys for watching. I mean, if you like this discussion, make sure to follow us and like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, which you can find links to in the description below. We post all kinds of things there. It's a good way to keep up with everything we post. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more Smash Brothers Wii U and 3DS and other things gaming as well. Alright, thanks for watching guys. Bye.